My name is Kevin L. Powers, and I'm the program director for the Gwinnett Center International Film Festival, of which we are outside in front of the Performing Arts Center, which is our main location, or main screening room for our location this year. Well, last year we created the Gwinnett Center International Film Festival to kind of bring the indie Georgia filmmaker and indie films in general experience to Gwinnett County, specifically Duluth City. And last year we had some, rough hurdles to get through because being a first-year film festival, you have a lot of stuff you have to learn. From this year, we decided to improve upon the stuff that we made problems with, or we had problems with last year, and did something that would appeal more to the filmmakers and the general, I guess you call, the general citizenry of the city, so that we could bring everyone in for this event. Well, the only way we could do the film festival is if we had a lot of sponsors. The festival director, Selena Brandstetter, she is responsible for sponsorship and vendors and the publication and that kind of like all that general business type stuff. Whereas I'm responsible for the programming of the films, judging, workshops, panelists, panel discussions, all that type of thing. She went to bat for this film festival and got us a lot of different sponsors that we didn't have last year. And some of the sponsors that we had from last year gave us more money this year to do the second year because they saw what we had done last year and saw what we could do to improve for this year. But Selena, she has all the valuable info on that. Two of the major contributing factors to our film festival is one, on-site has provided us with a huge amount of equipment in order to make our film festival bigger. They're more or less donating all the equipment, all the stuff that has to do with the screening rooms. Now we've upped the ante this year in that we went full HD with all 4 of our screening rooms this year, whereas last year we only did that with 1. I have to credit On-Site for helping us do that, because without their contributions, that would have never happened. The other thing is Without a Box. Without a Box is, the go-to place for most film festivals, although there are a few others that are growing in popularity. But Without a Box has been chiefly responsible for helping us get the word out about our film festival and promoting it to the international markets. I mean, everyone knows Without a Box. It's a very famous name in terms of film festivals. So we got a lot of films, and we still get a lot of films internationally from and through Without a Box. So that's been instrumental in allowing us to get an international, I guess you call it, conglomerate of films this year. Well, I'll say we have 4 screening rooms this year as opposed to the 3 we had last year. Our main screening room is actually a performing arts center which houses roughly 700 seats, so it's a pretty big theater. Our screen for this screening room is approximately 42 by 45 feet tall, so it's a pretty big screen that we can showcase films on. It's like going into a real movie theater and getting that experience. With our 5.1 surround sound, so to speak, and everything else that comes with being in a performing arts center, we're able to give our audiences the impression that they are sitting in and hearing an actual movie at a movie theater. The other 3 screening rooms are much smaller, obviously. They see just under 200 people each, but our screens are 9 by 16 wide angle screens. And we still have 10K projectors in there, HD, so everything's fully HD this year. So, unlike some other film festivals who may not have gone full HD with their presentation for their films, we've gone completely full HD in order for filmmakers who shoot full HD to be able to see their films for the first time on the big screen in full HD, as opposed to what we did last year, which is screen some of them on, standard def. One of the key associations that we have this year is with the Make a Film Foundation. They sent us a film called The Magic Bracelet, and we were so moved by this film that we decided to utilize it as one of our special screenings this year. Now, if you don't know anything about the Make a Film Foundation, It is a foundation, much like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, that helps, I guess you'd call it, sometimes, children with special needs or have special diseases. They help them achieve a dream that is associated with filmmaking. So for the Magic Bracelet, it was Rena Goldberg's dream to make a film that would inspire people. So when you watch this film, The Magic Bracelet, you'll see a film that mirrors Rena Goldberg's life, who has mitochondrial disease, which is very prevalent all over the world, but it's not very spoken about that much. But mitochondrial disease is a debilitating disease, which unfortunately Rena Goldberg passed away from. And her dream was to make a film that would inspire and kind of tell the story and truth about the disease to others, spread the word about this disease, which most people don't know anything about. What happened is that Make It Film Foundation met Rena Goldberg and her parents, Stacy and Ari Goldberg, and they had Rena come up with a plot or a film ideal for this film they were going to make for her. She ended up coming up with a film that was a feature-length film. And of course, Make a Film Foundation doesn't do feature-length films. They kind of do short films. And so they hired Diablo Cody, who was famous for writing Juno, to come in and kind of streamline Rita's vision into a workable short film. And then the people behind the Make a Film Foundation got all these stars together for free to help make this film possible. I mean, everyone from James Van Der Beek to, everyone, there's a ton of people in this movie to help bring Rena's dream and her film to life. Now, the final film, The Magic Bracelet, is the story of a young girl who has mitochondrial disease, who is searching for a magic solution to her problems. And through the, I call them misadventures, but they are really adventures that she has with a new friend, she's able to understand her disease better and find a new way of coping with it that doesn't mean finding a cure-all for everything. Because we all know there's certain diseases out there that you just can't find a magic cure for that they heal right off the bat. It's a very touching and moving film that's been traveling all over the U.S. and all over the world, actually, educating people about mitochondrial disease and Rena Goldberg's plight. And we decided to screen it at the film festival this year and to actually give an award, a special award to the Make a Film Foundation for their achievements in helping do what they do. I mean, without them, we wouldn't have these type of stories out there that tell real life stories in an entertaining and compelling way that both move families and children alike. Well, this year, with 4 screening rooms, we had a lot of films to screen. And one of the things that we improved upon from last year is that we didn't start the film festival so early in the morning that people weren't going to be here, and we didn't keep it so late that people would leave. But in between, we showcased a lot of great films. I mean, our opening night film, which was August 1st, was the world premiere of The Cure from the young filmmakers Justin Pogue and Kenneth Bradley. Now, these are both Georgia-based filmmakers who came together to create an action film in the tradition of the Bourne Identity franchise that was all locally made here in Georgia with all local actors for a very minuscule budget. We decided to open up with that film because it was a very strong action film to do so. That being said, we also closed with the children's film Santa's Boot Camp, directed by Ken Feinberg, who has had a very long history here in Georgia with creating and I guess fostering a lot of children actors and child actors and teenage actors through his Creative Arts Studio of Atlanta, Creative Arts Studio of Atlanta, who have come together in this movie, Santa's Boot Camp, to more or less do a film that will showcase all these kids' talents for, a wider audience. I mean, we want to prove that there are real actors here in Georgia. So we have the action film, which has lots of older actors in there, and then we have the children's film, which showcases a lot of children's films, or children actors. And both films did a great job with achieving their goals. One's a family comedy that hits all the great marks. Kim Feinberg knows what he's doing. He's done lots of these films. And then the other one's a strong action film from, you know, Bradley and Pogue, who have done this many times with short films. The other film that we highlighted on Saturday, we did a special screening of Now, In the Wings on the World Stage, which is a behind-the-scenes documentary with Kevin Spacey and his traveling tour of the Richard III by Shakespeare. We did a special screening of that on Saturday. I mean, we have a lot, those are three of our highlights, but we had a lot of great films this year. I mean, one of our strongest children and family films was A Horse for Summer. That one was a Georgia premiere. It starred Dean Cain as a father who kind of has to take in his sister's child, who's kind of a troubled child, and, you know, through faith and religion and just, you know, living out there in the country, they kind of learn to bond and become a family themselves. It was a good film, and we had a huge reaction to that film. One of the other highlights was the film Coffee Kill Boss, which has a lot of great character actors from Hollywood, but also stars Robert Forster, who is one of the great character actors of all time. That went over extremely well with audiences, and its satirical humor boded well for our film festival. The submission process for our film festival is twofold. A good half of the films come through without a box. We get a lot of international films through there and whatnot. But I also do a lot of research on bringing films here that I know exist outside there. Throughout the whole year, I do a lot of research and look up films that have played in a lot of other film festivals, because I want our film festival to showcase films that inspired me or caught my attention and that I want to see. Now, In the Wings on the World Stage was one of those films. I read about that in the magazine, contacted the filmmakers, tried to get it here. They said yes, fortunately, and we got it. I mean, last year I did the same thing with the film Imagine that starred Scott Wolf from Party of Five. Some of these films are like that, you know. A lot of the shorts that we get are from all over the world. One of our big countries that sends us a lot of films is Iran. Unfortunately, they have some sanctions over there that prohibit them from sending us films and sending money our way, but they like to contact me directly, and I will accept films like that, you know, on a per film basis, because we've gotten a lot of great films from Iran and Israel, which we actually had a couple films from this year as well. You know, we had our first Russian film this year, Pechorin. Great film that was based on a best-selling novel. Great film. We had a couple from Spain. We had more last year from Spain. This year we have from only a handful from Spain. Italy, we didn't have any, although Italy took home a lot of the awards last year at our film festival. We didn't have any from Italy this year, which was kind of a letdown. But we did have one from South Africa this year. A very, very, very good film from South Africa, which we didn't have last year. I think that's a good amount of different types of films that we have. I mean, we also had some from Germany, Canada, oh my God, films from all over that we were showcasing this year. Animation seems to have dropped off the face of the indie face, in my opinion, because I haven't seen any in the last 2 years. I've seen just a handful. And like this year, where we focused on music videos, and we got a lot of music videos in this year, next year I want to focus on animation. I want to get works from those animators out there that are working in the obscurity of their own homes, creating these flash animations and these home animations, and I want to give them a venue to actually showcase it. So I'll be trying to solicit a lot of animation next year. One of the great things about the film festival that I want to strive to do is to bring films from all over the world to Georgia audiences. I want to give Georgia filmmakers their due, but it also would do a disservice if Georgia filmmakers didn't get to see films from all over the world. Filmmakers from all over the world make films differently. They tell stories differently. They have different tools to make their films. And for the audiences here in Georgia, I would love for them to see these tools from other filmmakers in action. I strive to have a huge array of different films from all over the world. I purposely look for films that have played in cons, that have played in, Tribeca Film Festival or the South by Southwest or Texas Frightmare or the Fantasia Film Festival. I strive to look for a different array of films from all over the world, but also from different genres, because drama may be the biggest one that we got this year, but there are horror films, there are sci-fi films, there are animation, there are shorts, features, documentaries. There are a plethora of different types of films out there, and I believe that in order to become a very well-rounded filmmaker, you have to be able to be exposed to all these different types of films. To experience all these different cultures from all these different films is a joy for me. I don't know about other filmmakers, but for me, I love to watch foreign films. I love to see how other films are made in other countries, other cultures. They're all different, and it does impact me as a filmmaker. I will take some of these techniques and then apply them to my own film. One of my favorite filmmakers is Michael Haneke, who did Funny Games and The White Ribbon, and he has a very distinct style of filmmaking that other people don't know about. You look at his films and you know it's one of his films because the storytelling and his techniques are so different from American filmmakers, and I want to strive to be and use some of those techniques in my own films. Now, if I can do that, surely other Georgia filmmakers can too. And all of our filmmakers that come in from Georgia to see their films being made. And so I have to be able to provide Georgia filmmakers with a lot of different types of films. I mean, I think I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't. If all I ever screened was films from Georgia, I think it would be doing them a disservice if I didn't show them what else was possible out there. Saying that, trying to describe Georgia films is like apples and oranges. If I was to go up and say, and look at Ken Feinberg's Santa's Boot Camp, it is made completely different than Justin Pogue's The Cure, which is then completely different from the way the horror film The Morningside Monster was made, which is another Georgia film, which is completely different from the way director Byron Irwin does Atheist Dinner Party or Searching for Signals. Both of those films are directed by him, but they're completely different. We do have some stories that seem to be told over and over and over and over again to death. Last year we had way too many sports films entered in, and they all had to deal with drugs and teenage sports. I kind of dismissed a lot of those because really I already had 3 films last year that were sports related, and seeing a bunch of sports films made in Georgia about teenagers doing drugs and sports was kind of redundant. There are some redundancies, and there always will be, but within that slush pile of Georgia films that you will find the diamond in the rough. I mean, we found Morningside Monster, we found Searching for Signals, we found, The Cure, Santa's Boot Camp. We found a lot of different films with different stories to tell, but you have to look for them. And even in terms of documentaries, last year we had Daniel Espute's Grease Paint. We have lots of stories to tell. We just have to have a venue and an avenue to get them out there. And that's what I hope this film festival will do. It will help get Georgia filmmakers and their films out there, their stories out there for people to hear. But I have to get through the slush pile of stuff that we have out there. And it'll be that way for any city, any state, any country. You'll have a story that's told 1,000 times. Over and over and over and over and over again. You just need to find the one that's representative of all of them. The one good one, the one diamond in the rough to showcase. Now, I'm not going to showcase 10 films about some sports addict in high school doing drugs and he can't do sports. I only did one. I found the good one last year, and that's what I screened. But I'm not going to show a bunch of them like that because it's redundant. Like last year, we have a lot of panel discussions this year, and we have several workshops. The panel discussions were extremely popular last year, more so than I ever would have thought. So we decided to bring them back this year, but add a few new ones. Like this year, we decided to do one on music videos. We also did one on casting, and we had a casting agency actually here do casting on Sunday, our closing night. We had one on producing feature films. We had one on, wow, short story writing for film. We had a couple on, there's various different ones we have. The thing is, we want to have panel discussions that will engage audiences and actually teach them and educate them as well. The panel discussions are designed not only as a means for creative people to be able to talk with one another and learn from each other, but also to teach the audience from their experiences. I mean, if nothing else, I want this film festival to be kind of an educational and teaching tool for other filmmakers and other audiences. I want people to come here and actually learn something while they're being entertained. And the panel discussions is one of the most popular ways to do that, because that gives them firsthand experience with the people who make these films. They get to ask them questions about how they made the films. They get to ask them questions about what they did or did not get in the films. They get to ask, it's unbelievable what these panel discussions do for an audience, and which I understand now why they're so popular. With the workshops this year, we kind of had a lot of people who returned from last year. We had Ron McClellan come back in and do one on special effects monster makeup on a budget. And then we had Andy Daniel from Nine Cop Productions come in and do hers on props and zombie makeup and all that type of stuff, since she's very much into the zombie and vampire niche here in Georgia, which seems to be extremely popular. We added a new workshop this year that was on social media and using social media to actually market yourself, whether you're an actor or a filmmaker or whatever. We're trying to strive to do more and better workshops to give our audiences something to have hands-on experience with, as in terms of the makeup ones where they took audience members and made them up as monsters and stuff, or the social media one where, you know, they would log online and actually help them create a presence online that will help you market yourself. Because in filmmaking, acting, writing, producing, directing, it's all about getting your name out there, getting your product out there, getting your project out there, marketing yourself, marketing your project, marketing whatever it is that you have in order to get people to see it, buy it, or sell it. Well, to sum up the Gwinnett Center International Film Festival is that we are an event. We are not a single film. We are not a single workshop. We are not a single panel discussion. We are not a single judge. We are an event that we are trying to branch out and get people to come to. You're not going to come here to watch one single film. We want you to come here to watch lots of films. We want you to experience workshops and panel discussions. We want you to stay here all day and experience the plethora of different things that you can as either a filmmaker or just an audience member who loves films. So when you look at the Gwinnett Center International Film Festival, don't look at it as like going out on the movie to a date to watch one movie and that's it. Look at it as coming out here to an event, a whole weekend event or day, if you so choose, and experiencing everything there is to experience. Because when you come here, you will have a huge wealth of experiences, whether it be from workshops or panel discussions or from a Russian film or a Georgia film or a film from any place in the world. You're going to have a different experience than you've ever seen before. Well, you can find the film festival on Facebook, GCI Film Fest, or you can go to the website www.gcifilmfest.com to get any information about the film fest. Now, right now, you'll be able to see all the winners from our awards ceremony that we had on Sunday, and just a little overview of how this year went. You can also look in our archives for last year's. But as in in terms of next year, 2015, none of that's up yet, but we hope to have something up soon. My name is Kevin L. Powers, and I'm the program director for the Gwinnett Center International Film Festival. Good day, we're here at the 2014 Gwinnett Center International Film Festival. I'm here with Molly Luch, who is one of the writers of VietPeople.us. So, tell me a little bit about your magazine and what you do.
With our magazine, we do mostly personal advertise as well as to promote other business, and also we do bio on filmmakings and also business profiles. Now GPS, modeling agency, is coming in with a magazine. This is where I come in as to promote the model. for their acting and acting skill in the film industry. So with the festival that's we're here, it's a great opportunity.
Oh, well, we're glad to have you here because we have a lot of models and actors here, and I'm sure that they're going to use your magazine as a good jumping off point to get them into the industry. Now, tell me a little bit about the magazine, the history of the magazine, how long you've been a part of it.
Well, what happened was that Cindy Dawn had followed my work for 2 years. And I'm originally from South Carolina. She followed my work. She read some of my blog and said that I was moving to Atlanta. And with their company, though, they cater to only to VIT. And where I come in, though, where I branch out into the American sections, as well as to other ethnic, like people who speak in Spanish or French and stuff like that. So we have merged in where different ethnic can read the article as well.
Now, we talked a little bit earlier about the website version, and one of the great things about your website is that it is or can be translated to multiple different languages, which makes it a very good magazine for people of all cultures to be able to read.
Correct. Correct. We have our website. His name is William Vo. He's working on that right now. I checked on him last week, and he's right now have a certain. If you are IT with a computer, you know how it works. Though you have to do a little technical in there.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what you've seen here at this year's film festival. I know you've been walking around a lot, seeing a lot, talking to a lot of people. Tell me a little bit about what you've been seeing.
Well, it's great with the film festival. I have educated myself a little bit more with the industries as well. I met the director of the films, and also I met you as well. You know, that's when we come in to branch in with the GPS modeling. And then that I learned, in fact, even way more, that I will make sure that half my crew will come here to see, because I'm their little guinea pig to see how well the festival work. And then I went back last night and add all my notes and everything. And like today, in fact, I learned some more what I didn't learn yesterday. And plus, not only that, I have a lot of connections with a lot of people here as well.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm glad you're able to come back on the second day and see something that you didn't see but the day before. Because what we strive here at the film festival is to try and do a little things a little different each day to build the audiences and help people get a bigger awareness of the film industry, from the casting and modeling aspects to the music video aspects to all of the types of indie film funding and everything else. And I'm glad you're able to come out here and see some of that so you can help us promote some of that, because that's something that's, you know, desperately needed here in Georgia with Georgia filmmakers, is not only venues for Georgia filmmakers to showcase their films, but also for people like you to come and see the talent that's here. And also, you know, if you're a talent agent and looking for talent, you can find it here.
You are correct though, because I was kind of, you know, coming in 30 minutes and leave, but actually, like, you know, I said earlier, you got me in a second day. So that's me. Next year, I hope, you know, to be part of even more. We have our table, hope, next year, if it's possible. So.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that you find interesting about doing your magazine and how it affects or is affected by the film industry here.
Well, with our magazine, we just wanted to cater to just a certain audience and stuff like that. But now that I'm here, I wanted more to talk about just not only to the business sites and not only to the modeling sites, but I also want to add in where the other film industry can actually pick up the magazine and say, hey, this is where, you know, everybody's at in Georgia and stuff, and where they can link in, and especially a site where they can look where each article is at or each location. Like, for example, the model come here, they can open a magazine and say, hey, I need a new agent, or I need a new film director, or I need whatever it is. We have that in the article as well. So it's basically almost like a phone book, but not actually a phone book, because it's more entertaining.
Okay. Well, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience about the magazine, or something about the film festival in regards to how this film festival or your magazine can be beneficial to them?
Well, with this festival, though, it's benefit to people who is starting their agencies, as well as models start and actress starting looking, and this is the best place to do it and the best event to come to.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you were able to come out here and enjoy the whole weekend and this glorious sun and weather that we're having. And I look forward to reading more of your articles and seeing more from your magazine.
Hello, and welcome back to day 2 of the Gwinnett International Film Festival. I'm sitting here with composer Esteban Watson, and he was working on the film Grease Paint. Welcome to the film festival.
Hey, very
my
nice
pleasure to meet you.
Hey,
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Pleasure to be here.
Tell everybody here in the audience a little bit about your background, Esteban.
Well, I come from a family of jazz musicians, so I kind of grew up playing jazz. I was a drummer, still am, but I was trained as a drummer for about 12 years and played in a lot of jazz bands as a drummer, and took up piano and caught an interest in alternative music, not jazz, and just kind of pushed me towards doing things like films and video games.
Excellent, excellent. Tell me a little bit about how you actually got involved with the project Grease Paint.
Well, it was an interesting situation. I knew the director back from old projects that we had worked on starting out when he started the company. And I was actually working for a band, writing their music, when Daniel came up to me and told me about this project. He told me to start, thinking outside the box for this project, and I had an opening and got on the project and started working away, trying to figure out the sound of this story, because it's an interesting story and I've never done anything like it. So,
tell me a little bit more about your relationship with Daniel and your background and how you came to know him, and then actually how you both came together and collaborated on the project Grease Paint.
Sure. I met Daniel probably 2004 when he started the company, and at the time I was interested in acting. So he brought me on as an independent actor, and he was giving me opportunities there. But I always loved music. I always was interested in the music component. So, but we went separate ways for a while. I went working on different things, and but Daniel's an inspiration to me and a lot of people here in Gwinnett. He started something that's turned out to be pretty big.
Right.
And so Daniel's a good friend of mine now. He's my boss because he keeps me working on a lot of different projects, and he's an inspiration to me.
Really. And then you mentioned something about musical influence. So just real briefly, tell us, because you said, okay, jazz or this or alternative. Just throw out a few names for me. Just throw out.
Well, because I'm in the film world now, it'll be composers like Alexander Desplat, Hans Zimmer is definitely up at the top.
Right.
Thomas Newman.
Sure.
And the list goes on. But a lot of film composers are my inspiration now. Even on the other things that I'm working on, I look to film composers because they think outside typical musicians as far as their thinking process.
Absolutely. And just finally, like, what kind of projects are you working on now, and what kind of projects do you hope to work on in the future, and moving forward?
Well, this project has been being pushed for about a year now. So I just finished up with a video game called Street Kicks, which is on PSP.
Excellent.
And but currently, now that I'm off that project, we're in the vamps of working on a new film. And I'm going to hold off on the details about that. And I started a band called Playground about 6 months ago, so I'm going around doing live music now.
Wow. And this band Playground, well, like, what maybe would be a couple of your influences, type genre leaning, type thing?
Because of my interest of always doing things alternative, it is an alternative band, so we do alternative rock. Influences would be Coldplay, Grizzly Bear, those sort of bands, because they're still cinematic.
Right.
In their music style, and that's inspiring to me.
Okay, okay. Excellent. Well, we've been sitting here with Esteban Watson, up and coming and soon to be incredibly 5-star famous composer for
one day,
film and video. No, don't sell yourself short ever. And it's been our pleasure. My pleasure to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Hopefully see you again soon.
Yes, sir.
Hello and welcome to the Gwinnett Center International Film Festival 2014. What I'm doing today is interviewing some of the people who came out to represent some of the films. And right now I'm here with Stacy and Ari Goldberg, who are representing Rena Goldberg, their daughter, and the film The Magic Bracelet. Let me ask you a few questions first. What was so important for you with making this film? I know it was Rena's dream, but what was it for you?
Rena really wanted to raise awareness about mitochondrial disease because it's so rarely known. Every 30 minutes a child is born with mitochondrial disease, and the same amount of children that die from mitochondrial disease die from other childhood cancers. But yet there's so little known about it. So she really wanted to raise awareness about it, and she believed the way to do it was the power of film, and she wanted to see her film in Hollywood. Very few adults believed her, and she would always say, dream big. She knew it was going to be in Hollywood. She wanted to have it to be in Hollywood. She knew that I believed in her, and she was on hospice the last 10 weeks of her life. And her last wish, and her most important wish, was promise for me to take care of her film. So Rena was our only child, so I have no more to give her. I can't do anything else, which parents live to do. So for me, what it is to do is for Rena's voice and vision to live on through the legacy through her film.
And I know you've taken this film to a lot of different cities, and a lot of different people have seen it. And for me, I chose this film to be in the film festival, one, because it was such a huge message that Rena was trying to tell people that I had to get it out there. And just like you say, you're trying to get Rena's message out, and the Make a Film Foundation is doing that. it was something I just couldn't stop but promote. So tell me a little bit of how the Make a Film Foundation came about.
So Make a Film Foundation is a foundation in LA, a nonprofit organization, completely volunteer, that pairs Hollywood directors, producers, actors, and writers with young filmmakers with serious life-threatening or chronic illnesses, so that they can create their film legacies. And some of the kids from that are chosen, like Rena, won't be here forever, but through their film they will always be here. So they get an incredible amount of talent that come together to do this beautiful thing for these kids. Make a Film has been around for 6 years. This is their third short that they have done. And when they heard Rena's story, Tamika Lamison, the executive founder and director of Make a Film Foundation, took it because it really spoke to their mission.
Yeah. Now, one of the funny bits that I got from the making of documentary is the fact that when Rena heard about this, she wrote a speech or script, which I thought was really humorous, that she could have come up with something in such a short period of time. I was like, I'm a writer, and it takes me a lot longer than that to come up with anything. But I know that, well, at least Diablo Cody, who wrote the screenplay, took her story and got the essence of what she wanted to say down. And it's just a beautiful film. I mean,
yeah, and that was one of the many amazing things of part of this film journey, is that Rena's script was originally a full-length feature, 120-page script, and when we were looking for someone to take this project on and make it into a movie, one of our big fears was, are they going to stay loyal to the script, to the intention, to the emotion, to the feeling? And so when Make a Film Foundation picked it up, it was another example of it just being a perfect match, because with them, it's not about what the director wants or even what the actors want. It's what the child who's the filmmaker wants. And Diablo did an incredible job of taking an hour and a half and moving it down to 18 minutes, yet keeping Rena's voice, Rena's humor, Rena's message. Diablo herself says that she and Rena worked together on the adaptation Somewhere Between Heaven and Earth.
Yeah, and it's very clear, people who know Rena, who watch the film, will say that they hear Rena's voice and hear her humor. And it was very interesting because Diablo and Rena seem to have the same humor. So some people who don't know Rena think it's Diablo's humor, but it's actually Rena's humor and Rena's words, which is quite incredible. And John too John Paul, our director, did an incredible job with Diablo of really keeping intent 100% the core of what Rena wanted. And the other piece that she really wanted was she really wanted to teach people to live limitless life, and to she lived every day believing and living love life, dream big, be positive.
Yes.
And I think that's what she wanted to teach people, and she wanted people to walk away with that, because we ourselves every day we put we don't have any physical limitations, we have no disease, and we put limits on ourselves. And there she was, so limited, unable to, at the end of her disease, unable to leave the house, on a couch or bed, attached to feeding tubes and a trach and a vent, and tubes and wires, and so physically limited but creatively limitless, which was really unbelievable. And the resiliency, and she recognized, I think it took her such a little bit of time to write that script because she really knew what was important. And Diablo compared it to Life is Beautiful, because Rena saw things.
Okay.
Rena saw things in her life. That's how she wrote this film. She would see things in her life and experience things. Teachers came into the house, doctors came into the house, nurses. She'd be in the hospital. Something would happen where most people would be seeing the negative. I'm in the hospital feeling terrible. I just had this horrible thing happen. She would watch it all and she'd be, ooh, that was a movie moment. Oh, that was a character in the movie. I could pull this. So she pulled what could be really sad, and she did some pretty funny stuff with it.
Yeah, well, I'm when I watched the film, I was very moved by the Hollywood actors and the fact that a lot of them were playing against type. Which is an amazing thing, because they actually took the script and wanted to instill Rena's message as pure as possible, and I think that comes through very well in the film.
Well, it's interesting because if you ask, there were 150 crew that worked on this set.
Oh, wow.
All giving freely of their time. The production crew, plus the cast, this incredible cast. And if you ask them, each and every one of them, we believe, was picked by Rena from heaven to do this. Handpicked. The crew in particular, you're talking about against type, Jackson Rathbone, who plays Uncle Jeff, who's known for Jasper and Twilight. He was chosen, and he said yes, because Rena was a huge Twilight fan. Huge Twilight fan, and that's how he came along. And Bailey Madison came along because Rena wanted a Disney star. She wanted someone young and with that energy. And Haley came along because of Bailey, and it turned out they actually wanted to work together. And Rena wanted the girls to have an outside relationship, and so they could have a real chemistry on set.
Nice.
So there's many, many stories like that.
No, that's good to know, because I didn't get all that from the behind-the-scenes documentary, so that adds a little bit more to the story.
And actually, I think with Jackson, too, it's interesting. I think part of the reason as well that even though he was playing a little bit against type, that I think it was so authentic, was that he and his wife had just had a baby a few months before. Oh. And I actually wonder if we had had that same shoot, 5 months earlier, whether the emotion would have been quite the same, because he was a dad by the time he was filming this.
That's very interesting. Huh. Yeah, I enjoyed I hate to say this, I enjoyed the behind the scenes portion of the 2 DVDs you gave me, more so than the actual film, because I got to see Rena and I got to see the reaction of the cast and crew, because Rena was there on set the entire time. It was I was.
Well, another interesting thing is Rena had not put herself into the script, and when you see the movie, she's incorporated in, via pictures, and she is a friend of Ashley, one of the characters, who's had Mito and passed away. And when they first asked us about it, we said, no, Rena didn't put herself into the script. She wouldn't have wanted it. This wasn't meant to be about her. And they said, every Make a Film Foundation movie that we do, we want the child to be in the movie themselves. And the last film that they did,
Deep Blue Breath.
Deep Blue Breath.
Clay Bibio.
Clay, right.
He didn't want to be in the film either, and Elijah Wood, his mentor, convinced him. So they talked about that, and they said so Diablo and John sat together, and originally when Rena wrote the script, the bracelet was just found by accident. So John came up with the idea, and John came up with the idea of it being from Rena and interweaving her into the story in that way. And so they came to us and asked if it was going to be okay, and we were hesitant, and Diablo said to me, I talked to Rena, it's going to be okay. And so I believed her.
Oh, okay. Nice. Now, I know we were going to have a big a Mito audience that will come here to see the film, who have been dying to see the film for a very long time. I'm trying to remember who I was talking to with that, and I'm drawing a blank on it.
Christine Crux.
Christine, thank you. I've been trying to get to accommodate them as much as possible, because I believe, and like Rena, I'm sure, believes that this is a disease that we need to educate people about. So I wanted to try and get as many people here as possible. So if nothing else, besides being just an entertaining film, it's also an educational film too. And I hope a lot of people take that away when they watch the film and hear you guys speak during your Q&A. So.
Well, we have multiple goals for the film. And education is clearly, just about at the top. But another one is so that kids and families who have kids with mitochondrial disease won't feel quite so alone. I mean, there are, I hate to say it, but named diseases that you see in movies a lot.
Yeah.
And for a kid who has, a much less known disease, to have a, famous Hollywood character such as Bailey Madison saying the name of their disease and being able to go to a movie and see, it's incredibly empowering. And Rena also really wanted medical accuracy in the film. So, again, Ashley, the character who has mitochondrial disease, has a G-tube, a gastric
by Hollywood
tube.
magic.
Exactly, through the magic of Hollywood. And we have gotten feedback from numerous people that they had kids who also have G-tubes, who first of all, they see the movie and they get a big smile on their face. Look, she's got a tubie just like I do. And the other piece being some kids who have given their parents some hassles about, the feedings through the tube, and then after seeing Bailey Madison wearing this tube, they don't give their parents hassles anymore.
Interesting. Well, is there anything anything else you'd like to tell people about the film or Rena herself?
Just to give a little shout out to the incredible cast. We mentioned Diablo and our director, John Paul, an amazing casting director, Del Jones, and then our cast was J.K. Simmons and Jackson Rathbone, Bailey Madison, Haley Steinfeld, and James Vanderbeek.
And Caitlin Doubleday.
And Caitlin Doubleday. incredible cast of crew who continue to be connected and of course to the partner in crime with Rena, Tamika Lamison, the executive director and founder of Make It Film Foundation, who sadly couldn't be here today, but is here from LA here with us representing. And we just want to say that it's been an incredible honor for us to be here, and we have been this year in its 26 film festivals, and so incredibly impressed with this film festival and all that's being done, and the way it's put together, and the way that you guys are treating the film makers and doing everything you do. So we thank you very much.
You're welcome. We'll wait until we see the film. The audience will see the film. We have 2 screenings of it, so we'll have plenty of time to get the message out. And thank you two for both coming out here and doing an interview with us.
Thank you so much.